Okay, so we're recording.
Woohoo, we're back. Finally, we're working. It took a lot to get here.
It did, but we made it.
We made it. Oh my gosh, have y'all met Chantel?
Hi.
I'm sure we've talked in other videos, but like, get to know Chantel. There are a lot of reboots happening all at once. Shaman King, Higurashi, Beyond the Bot. So what makes them good? What makes them bad? What makes them just the right amount of gay? Or not gay enough? What makes me want to cuddle with them on a warm night? And what makes me want to throw Sorceress, Stabber, Orphan off a cliff? Let me just get that out of the way. I will be showing no love for the Sorceress, Stabber, Orphan reboot that came out early this year. Oh, you didn't know about it? Good. The production team didn't bother, and neither will I. Hi, I'm Cristal and we're back. And today we're probably gonna spoil some of these series to really dive into the subject at hand, which is how to get in the reboot. I mean, what makes a reboot good, or, you know, me. It's always a risk when taking a beloved franchise and trying to retell its story, because it can freshen it up or completely ruin the whole brand. Remember when Toho bought the rights to the American Godzilla only to have the true Godzilla kill him in a fiery blaze? Yeah, you can f up that bad. But in a world where money talks, an established name is a guaranteed way to get butts in seats. So, good or bad, reboots tend to happen despite the risk. Every 2 years if you're Spider-Man. But the biggest factor for a good reboot is how the new version translates what made the original so great. Before the successes of reboots like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it was fairly common for anime stories to go off completely on their own, like how the original Fullmetal Alchemist series veers off entirely at parts, adapting storylines from the light novels and creating their own ending, maybe even taking things a little too far. Heck, there are entire sequences that happen in Death Note's manga that are either omitted or changed completely in its anime. This can get annoying real quick, not just for the fans, but also for the author. In the original Fruits Basket, the animation crew and the mangaka, Takaya Natsuki, ran into disagreements in adapting certain aspects like the cast, directing style, and color schemes. So although this series was received well, it wasn't true to the original and it annoyed its author. Thankfully, when it was rebooted in 2019, it followed the manga much more closely, bringing Natsuki-sensei on board to consult. The series has been really successful, noted for straying away from the more comedic adaptation of the original anime and including the more dramatic and tragic elements that the manga had. No doubt, thanks to Natsuki's mentorship. And it's a triumph. I personally think it could have had a bit more balance because the tragedy does get heavy and almost drags on a bit, but overall, the delivery is proportional to the way that this adaptation sets up each story beat. And you can't really fault it for being as dramatic as it genuinely is. On the other hand, when Sailor Moon Cristal came out, while it stuck as closely as possible to Naoko Takeuchi's original vision too, it didn't meet the same amount of success. Honestly, I was super excited to jump into that world myself and finally see every character presented exactly as the author intended. No censorship. Let the gay begin. But it wasn't enough, and it might be a matter of the panel not quite translating to the screen. Again, consider the medium. When the original Sailor Moon animated series came out, it was designed to fit the audience expectations of its time and TV's distribution format. Attention spans were different. Pacing was different. There were commercial slots to consider and programming slots to fill, which led to fillers. And maybe it's a spicy take, but some anime can benefit from having fillers. Okay, hear me out. When the word filler comes up in a conversation, it mostly has negative connotations. I get it, I agree. You think it's wasting your time. However, in certain instances, it can be a breath of fresh air or an opportunity to explore characters or world-building layers and expand on them. Take the classic Dragon Ball Z episode where Goku and Piccolo learn to drive. Z, unlike its predecessor Dragon Ball, doesn't have a lot of downtime. The stories are serious and action-packed, and despite some of the infamous pacing issues the anime has, episodes dedicated to a silly, slice-of-life-esque activity like this can capture the essence of some characters that a dedicated retelling might not. I am in no way advocating for more filler to replace actual content, but what I am saying is that while superfluous on a printed page or a digital one, fillers, when done right, can take full advantage of the medium and show the story in new and exciting ways. It's the potential a medium like video games brings to storytelling when they offer alternative love routes and characters to romance. Yes, I like romancing everyone in my video games, and I would appreciate more romance-driven episodes in my anime for my side ships. Live and let horny. In My Hero Academia, I just realized that's the worst way to, that's the worst segue to have from my last thought to go to My Hero you know what? Okay. In My Hero Academia, the Hero Agency internship arc was complete filler. And it was awesome. It gave us office worker Bakugo for one. It added depth and warmth to secondary characters and overall felt natural rather than something tacked on at the last minute. Sailor Moon Crystal had no fillers, but also lacked the charm of its predecessor. So, what other factors dictate what makes a reboot good or bad? Well, it often helps when the original version lacks something that the newer version can provide. For example, if the original anime ended in a way people disagreed with, the reboot has a chance to correct that ending, like Shaman King. When the reboot for Shaman King, a classic series that was a peer of the likes of One Piece and Naruto, was announced, the community cheered. Yadoya cheered. Unfortunately for the series, it didn't have the chance to end properly initially, having to come up with an unsatisfactory ending, not just in the anime, but in the manga too. But since then, the author has released a newer version with a completely new ending. If the anime decides to adapt this, it is an opportunity to redeem an ending that has been seen as a letdown, or at least unfaithful to the spirit of the series. Basically, when creators fuck up, they can fix it in the reboot is what I'm saying. Unless you're Game of Thrones. No. We don't know for absolutely certain what road the Shaman King reboot will take, but the opportunity is very exciting. Another way a reboot can succeed is to do a better job telling the same story. This might mean updating the animation, or if you're berserk, absolutely destroying it. God. Or refresh the script so that it doesn't feel tone deaf with the times. Even in video games, removing key scenes that add nothing to the plot, like Sang slapping Aerith in the original Final Fantasy VII while other characters implied he had a crush on her, which, ick. That was thankfully removed from the remake. Details like that can have a huge impact. Now I like Sang, which means Square Enix can develop Turk's body pillows and I can buy all of them like the husbando trash collector I am. Win-win. Or you could go the route of Saint Seiya on Netflix and make a 3D reboot where Seiya wears a Mexican sombrero as a nod to its Latinx fans. A choice, I guess. And you know what? Let me get on my rant box real quick and speak about Sorceress, Tab, Orphan. I know I said I wouldn't, but here I am, because like Saint Seiya and how it's never been rebooted properly, I feel personally attacked. Orphan is a dark fantasy anime classic that had, for its time, some of the most visually stunning depictions of magic and martial arts battle choreography. It drew you in with its tense plot, murder mystery, and core themes of revenge and redemption. It was a suspenseful, moody series, and it was a huge hit in Latin America. The reboot is nothing like it, which is a shame because this is an outdated property that fans aren't likely to rediscover unless it gets a refresh. But this 2020 reboot removes all of the texture from the original, along with any sense of suspense or cinematic build-up to its big story reveals, and that gritty sense of anatomy and dark cinematography that the original established, gone. It's notable that Orphan is categorized as a dark anime series, but the reboot leaned into the comedy that happened every now and then and did away with the dark overtones. The bloody August, once a fierce, majestic, tattered, and bloody dragon, now more of a green Charizard, if you will. Nothing wrong with Charizard, but And fine, if you're going to reboot a classic, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but there needs to be a sense of cohesiveness with the show's intention. The Orphan reboot doesn't really do justice to its impact as a franchise in Japan or abroad, where the original light novel has sold over 14 million copies and still going. And there are video games and drama CDs and the whole shebang. I'm not going to ignore Orphan Season 2 was not great, so truly what you should experience is just Orphan Season 1. And I don't want to come down hard on the animation team either, because I get it. Animation jobs are often grueling and thankless, and maybe the production schedule was rushed on this one, but it just looks lazy. I'm just mad about Orphan. It could have been so good, and it's such a beloved franchise, and Studio Dean has done so many other fantastic titles, and I'm still hoping for a Kyokara Mao reboot. So please, Studio Dean, just not like this. Anyway, if you're trying to tell the same story and do it better, it can succeed when done right, or utterly flop when done wrong. Or worse, have no impact whatsoever. All that money in production and just like, eh. Like the Digimon reboot that came out, it tried to recapture the magic of the original series, I guess, but the results are pretty mixed. I can't even expand much, it's just meh. But take Hunter x Hunter and you have an excellent example of what happens when this formula actually works. Seriously, check out Hunter x Hunter. In the end, it comes down to the studio and the director in charge, how much they love the franchise, how in control of their own style and craft they are, whether they have a vision for the property, and whether that vision is something the audience actually wants. Or, in some cases, when you're a master like Masaki Yuasa, something audiences didn't even know they wanted. Hello, Devilman Crybaby. Hats off, but also, damn, I need to forget some of those visuals from episode 1 because it's imprinted in my baby subconscious and now I'm having very weird nightmares. Speaking of nightmares, Higurashi's When They Cry has recently premiered and already there's a fair amount of hype. And based on what fans have told me, the first few episodes are showing a lot of promise. I wouldn't know, I'm not a fan of Higurashi because if you know anything about me or have listened to our Botcast episode covering Paprika, I don't watch horror anime. It is horror. It's horror.
You're a liar.
It's horror.
No.
It's horror anime.
It doesn't even make sense.
It's horror. I stand by my choice.
There were creepy parts.
There were jump scares.
A couple of creepy parts.
I can point to a jump scare.
No.
When she's walking in investigating the scene and the doll was in the closet, and it's like
just in the closet.
The camera pans towards her and it's like, dun.
That's not a jump.
It's like there.
That's not a jump.
Yes, it is.
Because you jumped and were scared does not mean it's a jump scare.
It's exactly what makes it a jump scare.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I don't watch horror.
It's playing with the idea that dreams are cinematic.
Dreams?
It covers a lot of different genres.
If they are scary.
Do your video. Get out of my home.
I will live here now. Now, what I know about Higurashi, above that it's a well-respected franchise, is that some of the designs were somewhat different at certain parts. And that seems to be the first thing addressed with this next go-round, as the character designer for the reboot is none other than the character designer of Monogatari series Fireworks fame, Akio Watanabe. Already the visuals feel like an improvement. Even I was fooled into watching the first episode because I thought it looked cute and I didn't really notice the blood in the poster until it was too late. Regrets, I have them. So will it be good? We'll just have to wait and see. Or you will see and tell me. I refuse to watch it. Anyway, I'm Cristal Marie, clearly the resident scaredy cat girl of this channel. Thank you for tuning in and helping make this reboot happen. Let us know what reboots you're excited for, or any you hated. Let's talk about that. I personally vote for an Utena reboot and maybe someday for Clam to, finish X 1999. I'll make a whole ass video about that. So Yodoya kicked me out, but I left my spies in there. Sailor Moon will report on what's going on. He kept the equipment. That's okay. I don't have a microphone now, but that's okay because I will return. That's right, Return of the Cat. I don't care that we don't agree about Paprika and whether it's a horror film. I will invade and I will bring my friends with me. Until then, just a very special shout out to our patrons, Sugar Joe, Andrew M, Critical225, Astrolad, Kyle, and Eric Tortorapato, or is it Eric Tortorapato? Let us know. But yeah, thank you so much. Because of you guys, I might be able to finally get a different shirt. So to answer some of your questions, favorite underrated anime that deserves a readaptation? Saint Seiya. Seriously, I won't let that rest until it happens. Like, put me on that team. Let's try it again, people. Netflix, make it happen. What VTuber do each of y'all like most and why is it a shark? Mine is actually a demon. Calliope. I love her song Excuse My Rudeness, but could you please RIP? She goes, tee-hee, bitch. My kind of gal. Actually, that sounds like Dory. And I like Waifu Baby. She's pretty fun. If you had to pick an anime harem to try and survive, which one would you choose and who would be your best person? Or in High School Host Club, Best Boy Kyoya. Because you just know he's gonna grow up to have like a hidden dungeon somewhere. Okay, I need to check on myself. But subscribe, share, and check out our Patreon, made in New York, in our houses. Because we're still in a pandemic.